Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with Weekly Comic Book Roundup, and brand new month. We got a few things going on this month, actually, comic-wise. For most of the X books, for example, it's the Hellfire Gala. So yeah, these things are going to be very fun. In fact, we will be kicking off with our first few X books of the month, starting with Marauders, number 21. Honestly, the last month or so of X-Men books have first been leading to the Hellfire Gala. So yeah, where we left off, they were Marauders. They were headed to the gala. All right. So the issue begins with the arrival of Kate, Emma, and Shaw. And later we see the arrival of various other allies, both terrestrial and not. The Avengers are met in New York by Tempo, who gives each member a flower. And they're asked to leave the flowers on for the night. It will be their ticket to the gala and any after parties they might be invited to. They're met by the three monarchs of the Hellfire Club. Then the Fantastic Four arrive. With them as well is Alicia Masters Grimm and of course Franklin and Valeria Richards. Iron Man flew via armor and did not bring his flower, which does not make Quentin Quire all that happy. Doom arrives. The Russian, Madripoorian, and UK ambassadors all arrive together. J. Jonah Jameson shows up. A guy from AIM shows up, I believe. I believe that this particular AIM operative was featured in, I want to say, the Phantom X, Giant Size X-Men. But Doctor Strange arrives. Mr. Fantastic says something kind of harsh to Xavier, but we don't really get to hear what it is. X-Force is watching as they're providing security. We get the telepathic concert, which is done by performed by the Mutant Rhapsody, as well as the 5-in-1 and Marvel Girl. Everyone is quite enthralled except for Doom, because, well, Doom. The UK ambassador is a jerk about it, even though he was totally into it. Shinobi, Shaw, Bishop, Pyro, Iceman, and the AIM guy are playing dice on the friggin' deck of the Marauder, or outside though, and the Thing joins them. Just as Emma is trying to make claims that mutant kind has not conquered Earth, a Shi'ar delegate arrives to congratulate mutant kind on conquering Earth, which makes Doom laugh heartily. But apparently she asked for a favor of them, though she doesn't remember this. So she has her brother Christian take care of that. The Stepford Cuckoos note the Verendi kids are present, and they make Wilhelmina remember something. A lot of the shots in the issue are just kind of large background shots showing people talking. There's a shot with Cap and Wolverine talking. All in the same on the same page, you've got Doom talking to Colossus and Doctor Strange talking with Rogue. So yeah. Apparently, doing a kind of surface read of Captain America caused Emma Frost to think, "Oh, Cap is kind of into me," only to realize, no, she reminds him of his mother. But yeah, we got a private toast with the Hellfire Club staff. However, we then fast forward to the end of the night, and things have happened, and well, yeah, probably not for the best. There was a large surprise, which Cap asked Cyclops if he knew about when they spoke a few days previously, and he said Cyclops explains he didn't know for certain, but he had an inkling. And while Cap says that they've solved one big problem, he's worried they may have made an even bigger mess. We then get a backup story, a tale of a Hellfire Gala past. I'm wanting to say this probably came from shortly before the Phoenix Saga began, but it's basically when the story. It's an older story by Claremont and Bolton, and basically shows we meet Lourdes, who's a teleporter. Tessa Sage is also present. But I do believe this was the point where Shaw and Emma Frost took over the Hellfire Club. But we also get there's some Harry Leland action in there, and I think it kind of hints at what would end up being at Leland's eventual death. For those unaware, Harry Leland was a mutant capable of manipulating density. So, for example, like he could make or manipulating weight and density. So he could make someone's legs feel even heavier, making them unable to walk. But he had a heart attack fighting Nimrod, and during this Sentinel battle, when he uses his power to make the Sentinel too heavy to stand, it does cause him chest pains. So that's actually really that's a neat touch. However, the Sentinel that Shaw, Leland, and Frost fight manages to kill Lourdes. But afterwards, like I said, they Edward Buckner, who's a high-ranking member of the club, kills various members. And then Shaw kills him and decides that the Lord's Cardinal will now rule the Hellfire Club. Lord's Cardinal being one of the terms for the Inner Circle. But Shaw was Black King. Emma Frost was White Queen. I know that Celine Gallo was a brief Black Queen, though Jean Grey was initially groomed for the position. I don't recall who the White King was back in the day. I really don't. But yeah, that's it for Marauders number 21. For kicking off the Hellfire Gala, Very interesting. I was kind of expecting it to be kind of a, the various books to kind of be bit by bit. Maybe there'd be some, cross, like you'd see there would be something in Marauders, and off in one panel and be like, "What's going on? What's going on here?" Check out X Force number 20 out this week as well. Or what's going on? Oh, what's this? Check out, Excalibur, whatever. But no, it kind of we kind of get the beginning of the night as well as the end of the night, and then everything else is going to kind of be most every other book this next book this month is going to be what happened in the middle. Which brings us to our next book, X Force number 20. So X Force is running security. We get an expanded version of Quentin Quire's interaction with Tony Stark. We also it turns out that the gift from the Shi'ar is a big shiny pile of logic diamonds, which will be delivered to Cradles on Krakoa by way of the Marauder. But and Logan is not inside the party for the most part. Also, the various plot points in the issue have timestamps. There's also a delegation of Terra Verde that Domino stopped because they're acting funny. They're under Beast's telefloronic control. But another big splash page of various characters present, interacting. Storm can be seen, Sunfire, Hulk, Jen Walters version. Monet is there. I see Monet there. Looks like we've got. Looks like we've got Madrox. Madrox is serving as serving as the servers. Forearm is DJing. But yeah. So yeah. Basically, turns out Beast's plan with the Terra Verde delegation is that it's spreading. We learned from a text segment. Basically, it's spreading telefloronic surveillance tech throughout to everyone that's present. His little argument explains, so what if I have ears in every embassy or in Avengers Mountain? So what if you lose the privacy you never had? My aim is to keep the world safe. So yeah, Beast once again proving to be one of the dumbest smart people ever in Marvel Comics. But Emma catches wind of what's going on, though. Around 9:30, Wolverine catches a bogey outside outside. It's Deadpool. And so Wolverine and Deadpool have themselves a nice little bout. But Emma goes to talk to Sage about the Terra Verde group. Domino goes to join in the fight against Deadpool, explaining that if anyone should know the following, it's Deadpool. The following being don't with X-Force. But Emma wants to know, brings Sage a drink, and also wants to know about what's going on with the Terra Verde group. By saying, cheers to you and cheers to your colonial rule of Terra Verde. as what Beast has done does put the entirety of the nation at risk. So they get the spyware network gets decommissioned, and they start to head. They're about to head out, but worse, they've been hacked, and one of the ambassadors goes full plant monster after splashes some water on his face. The issue then ends with a quote from Deadpool: "You know you want it. You know you want me in you, X-Force." I actually don't mind the idea of Deadpool being on an X-Force lineup, but I understand why. But I'm okay with him not being on this current one. Which brings us to our next book, Hellions, number 12. So, turns out, only 3 members of the Hellions were actually invited to the gala. Sinister, Havoc, and Psylocke. And Greycrow is, Psylocke suggests to Greycrow that that the team train in the absence of herself, Havoc, and Sinister. She's got work to do tonight. Well, so do they. And Greycrow, who is quite taken with Psylocke, is rather fond of her dress. They train for a while. He drinks for a while, but after a while, they go to the gala. We see Sinister talking with Cap and Iron Man, claiming not to know which is which because he doesn't own a television. Havoc asks to know what the rationale of the council was for their decision on Madeline Pryor. When the rest of the team shows up. Oh, and Nightcrawler's trashed. Like, the Hellions! You guys made it! And apparently, Nightcrawler thinks about them a lot. Nanny interrupts Sinister talking with Black Panther and Thor. Kid Omega tries to basically, throw out the Hellions as they weren't invited, but Psylocke accepts them, basically saying, they're my +1. Turns out also the Cuckoos are doing side transcription for their own security and safety practices. Wildchild runs into Aurora, and yeah. Apparently, so I actually, this is something I wasn't aware of. Never really read Alpha Flight, so yeah. But apparently, Wildchild and Aurora were the thing. The story goes, apparently, as the Cuckoos put it, the short version is, they got together when Wildchild was a lot better and Aurora was a lot worse. She's ashamed of the whole thing, not because of him, but because of who she was. And, of course, there's the fact she's got Dakin now. But, of course, continuing to ask members of the council about the decision on Madeline. Magneto does what he can to make out Havoc feel uncomfortable, but Lorna drags him away. Polaris drags him away, basically, hey, my dad's being a dick. I'm sorry. Let's go get a drink. Sinister is being, well, sinister. Nanny is pouring drinks in a hole in the top of her casing. Wild Child's getting drunk and gonna pick a fight with Dakin. At the unknowing suggestion of Grey Crow. Psylocke tells Grey Crow that he's good to his friends, and he explains that he has to be. He doesn't have that many. Empath makes Empath makes Orphan Maker simulates drunkenness for Orphan Maker. Nanny is very strict that he not have anything to drink, but yeah. But a fight nearly breaks out between Dakin and Wild Child. Grey Crow goes to break it up, and Overmaker jumps on both of them. It gets messy. Both Magic and Magneto intervene. The transcript continues. They talk about the fact that Nanny's getting trashed while Orphan Maker's kind of tearing the party up. And that she did kind of try to murder Sinister in front of the humans, which is kind of cringe. Yeah, it's fun. But one of them jokingly suggests that Sinister and Nanny are a thing, but then I'm kidding. Besides, she's totally not his type. I'm like, what do you mean? What is his type? Himself? What do you think goes on with all those clones? Which I could actually see that. Not gonna lie, but yeah. There's a telepathic fireworks display. As the Hellions return to their headquarters, at the moment Sans Havoc, because he was not involved in the brouhaha, they run into another. They either run into or are passed by another Sinister, who has scars across here and here. And that is where the issue ends. But that clone of Sinister is very much up and about. So yeah, currently the Hellfire Gala is going interestingly, to say the least. Which brings us to our next book, away from the activities of Marvel's Merry Mutants, to the activities of the Black Cat. So where we left off, Black Fox had made a deal with the Gilded Saint. Eternal life and youth for himself and Black Cat. In exchange, the Gilded Saint is given the deed to the island of Manhattan, which he's probably taking possession of. But Black Cat tracks down Fox to Coney Island. He always ends up there when he's in New York. She explains everything she's gone through. Basically, though, she went into the vaults. People have been making deals with the Gilded Saint for a while, she explains. Coins there from, claims she found coins from ancient China, Greece, Mesopotamia, seashells, even from before people even used coin. But then she also found Fox's watch. But since the deed was chipped, he was able to track it down. Or she was able to track it down. And she tells the Gilded Saint that when the Guild of Saints shows up, she explains that she wants out of Black Fox's deal because she was brought in without consent and she doesn't want any part of it. So, yeah, done. But now she wants out of there. So she makes a deal. She tells him that, Fox may have made a deal with the Guild of Saint, but it plans to do the Saint dirty. So she says, tell you what though, let me out. Now you know, so let me out. If nothing occurs, hey, come back and get me. So she does. So she's let out. However, she has an explosive on the deed, destroying it. And so the Saint arrives and takes the Black Fox. They say goodbye. Fox explains that he, tells Felicia she's very clever and that he's never been more proud of her. And he's taken away by the Guild of the Saint. And leaves his watch with her. That night at the bar with no name, New York Thieves Guild and Felicia have a brief victory party. Odessa, I never gave her name. Odessa Drake goes to the roof to talk to the Black Cat. Everything has happened, and the two of them decide to spend the night together. And that is where the issue ends. Solid issues. Also, quick reviews on those X-Men issues as well. I already did Marauders. The Gala is interesting so far. Hellions was, and of course, Hellions was fun. And you know what? So was X-Force. So yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where things go continue to go, and basically what all else happens. But yeah, moving on to our next book, we've got Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon, number 6. Where we left off, the villainous Hierophant had appeared along with his acolyte. What was her name? Brenda? But, yeah. Their acolyte arrives. Yeah, Brenda Swanson, and the Hierophant's acolyte. But, yeah, they were at the Baofu Citadel, the hidden city. The Ghost Dragon had arisen. Turns out the Ghost Dragons resist their attacks, but eventually they do defeat it. The combined power of a Dragonheart-empowered Wakandan spear and the Iron Fist separately aren't enough to do any real damage. But perhaps need another Dragonheart, and so it suggests maybe Gork give up his own heart, which he does. The explosion that happened. An explosion nearly happened at Rand International. However, Hierophant manages to undo the explosion. But Okoye takes down the Ghost Dragon and rips out its heart. However, Hierophant and Fu return, and the Baofu Citadel's gates open. But Iron Fist is an idea. Combine the chi from all the Dragon Hearts that Okoye's got with the power of the Iron Fist. And so now she has both the Dragon Chi and the Iron Fist. And so Okoye takes on the Hierophant. At first, he does best her at first, but then yeah, he defeats her. The dragons are all reborn. And but Okoye does not wish to be the Iron Fist. She has her own duties to, to Wakanda. Pei is sad by the death of Gork, but oh, and they very nearly do kill Brenda Swanson, but Kuan Yin, having been reborn, arrives to stop them, and says that tells Pei that sadly the Gork that she knew is no more, but the Gork that will be is Gork the Undying, the new holy dragon of all the heavenly cities. But Fu has an idea what to do with the Iron Fist power, with the power of the Iron. The power of the Iron Fist is transferred into the egg that Gork is in, will hatch out of. And Danny Rand is no longer the Iron Fist. He is simply Danny Rand. I would presume, however, that he's still actually one hell of a martial artist. But Luke Cage says to him, I don't care, he doesn't care if Danny's fist is no longer Nightlight. He's still his, Danny's still his bro. And that's what he's doing for the rest of his life. And Danny simply says, live it to the fullest. And that's where the story ends, which, like I said, it does bring up a very interesting question. I do have to wonder if who the first writer to ignore this miniseries is going to be. Though I will say I find it interesting that one of the running themes with the current Avengers lineup is that you have representations of almost all of the members of the 1 million BC Avengers lineup. It's heavily implied that Echo as the Phoenix will be joining. Doctor Strange, Curse Supreme, has worked with them on occasion. Of course, Thor, presumably the Star, they're caring for the Star Brand baby, Black Panther, Ghost Rider, but Iron Fist was involved in Age of Khonshu, but that's been his only involvement with the new Avengers, with the current Avengers. So I'm just hoping they don't decide, hey, let's give Captain America the Iron Fist, because that's probably the dumber. It sounds cool, but it's still one of the dumbest dumb ideas I've ever heard of. Anyway, moving on to our last book for now. I did not expect Heart of the Dragon to end the way it did. Basically, kind of wrapping up for the moment, thinking of Danny. Like I said, we'll see who the first writer to ignore the series is. The series outcome is. I kind of hope no one does, honestly, but we'll see what happens. It was a fun ride. I like the idea of Okoye with the Iron Fist. That was kind of cool. Anyways, moving on to our next book, which will be the last book for this video. Star Wars: War of the Bounty Hunters, #1. So where we'd left off, Han Solo had been stolen from Boba Fett. And he was not happy. Also, various other parties were making arrangements to try and get their hands on Solo. So we begin on in Deep Space, the mid rim, and aboard the Vermilion as it docks at a station. The woman who stole Solo is gloating about what she's done, and basically, and it says that she's, yeah, that's welcome to try and retrieve Solo, but yeah. So at a bar on Narshada, Fett's looking for information. A young and not as prominent bounty hunter learns that there's now a bounty on Boba Fett, and takes a shot at him. Which, yeah, Boba puts him down real quick. Goes to his ship. A small explosive was placed on it by Zuckuss and Forlom, who were trying to steal Han from the hold of Slave One, only to discover that Han isn't there. But he takes them on and seemingly knocks Zuckuss to his death, and leaves Forlom a little more than a head, and learns about that there's a bounty on him and just who. But we aren't told yet who placed the bounty. Also, should be noted that a message was sent to Bib Fortuna that basically, Fett's on his way. But yeah, he kills some of Jabba's henchmen. Apparently, Jabba put a bounty on Boba Fett, and Fortuna explains that Fett was taking too long delivering Solo. And he heard that someone had stolen. That Fett had sold Solo to someone else. So Jabba felt betrayed. But Fett explains, no, he was stolen from me. I'd like to speak to Jabba and clear this out. But turns out that Bib Fortuna explains that Jabba's not present. He is aboard his ship in hyperspace. He is aboard the Shadru war barge, or his Shadru war barge, and in the middle of a holocom conversation with various other Hutts, including Boku the Hutt, who Darth Vader has made an alliance with. We find out that whoever this organization is that has contacted the Hutts, it's someone very powerful. But a lot of the hangers-on from Jabba's palace show up to, at the gates to, potentially take on Boba Fett. And Boba Fett explains that, many of the, if they fight him, some of them will die. Probably most of them. And they'd be dying for Bib Fortuna. Bib shows him the invitation. Turns out it's a Crimson Dawn. They are offering to sell. They're auctioning off Han Solo, and they gave Jabba the opportunity to bid for him. So yeah. But Boba Fett said, someone was going to die. Well, now he knows who's going to die. And he insists that Bib Fortuna repair his ship so he can do just that. On the planet Jakara, where all the invited parties are to meet with Crimson Dawn, the question is posed to the new leader of Crimson Dawn: why Han Solo? Explained that he's got connections to all the major factions of the galaxy: the Rebel Alliance, the Empire, everyone caught in between. Everyone either loves, hates, needs, owes, or is owed by Han Solo. he unites the galaxy, which is exactly what the leader of the Crimson Dawn needs. And we see Valance and Dengar running from someone, Vader on his way, Jabba on his way, Dr. Aphra receiving the same invitation from Crimson Dawn, and we learn just who the leader of the Crimson Dawn is now. Han's old girlfriend, Kira. Yes, from Solo. And that is where the issue ends. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was thoroughly surprised. I should have looked up Crimson Dawn. I know Crimson Dawn existed. I think, if I remember correctly, Crimson Dawn existed in was something from the old Marvel Star Wars books from the 80s. I'm not certain, but I'm fairly sure. If I remember correctly, Kira was working for Black Sun at the end of Solo. But, which is interesting. She would end up, going from Black Sun. Well, not that interesting, but yeah. So yeah. Interesting beginnings for the War of the Bounty Hunters. Anyway, that's all for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.